Neighbors, Park Forest residents, and people who didn't even know Jada are joining together, praying for her family and honoring the young girl.
So today we just celebrate life, a life gone too soon.
Lighting candles outside the home where Jada was hurt and calling for community and healing as this quiet block copes with tragedy.
I appreciate every single person who has come out for my daughter, every single prayer, every donation, anything that is related to my daughter. I truly appreciate each and every one of you.
1, 2, 3. As we release these balloons, we thank God for the life of Jada. We thank God for you. We thank you, Lord, for your love. We thank you for this community.
Princess gone too soon.
Yes, after.
Pink flowers in a Barbie dress accompanied Jada's white casket.
The night of July 14th, 2023, was like any other in Park Forest, Illinois. Quiet, still, the kind of night where nothing stirs but the faint hum of a distant car or the rustle of leaves in the summer breeze. But at 11 p.m., a desperate call shattered that stillness. A grandfather's voice, trembling and broken, confessed a chilling truth to the 911 operator. "I was beating my little granddaughter, and now she's out of it." The faint, crackling audio of Clint Elwood's 911 call plays in the background, his voice barely audible at first, then growing clearer.
"Was beating my little granddaughter, and now she's out of it."
Within minutes, the stillness was shattered. Emergency lights flooded the street, casting a harsh, unnatural glow. Sirens wailed, growing louder, closer, until the entire block was bathed in red and blue. They knew time was slipping away, but what they didn't know was the full horror waiting inside. A little girl's world had been shattered. Jada Moore, just 5 years old, was supposed to be safe with her grandparents. Instead, she faced a nightmare no child should endure. April 2008. A sterile hospital room in Georgia trembles with fragile hope. Kimberly Moore, exhausted and radiant, clutches her newborn daughter, Jada, as if she could shield her from the world. The baby's tiny chest rises and falls, her breath a whisper against her mother's skin, a fleeting vow of a life yet to unfold. Jada Moore was a wildfire of a girl, 5 years old and unstoppable. She stormed through life with a sassy tilt of her head, a curiosity that unraveled every secret, and a smile so infectious it could thaw the coldest heart. She was pink glitter and untamed laughter, a melody of joy that rang through her Georgia home. She was more than a name destined for tragedy. She was a daughter, a dreamer, a little girl carving her mark on a world too big to hold her. Jada wanted to heal the sick, to dance under spotlights, to be the hero in a story she'd never get to finish. And Kimberly, her mother, hung on every wild promise, believing her girl could outshine the stars. Then came the summer of 2023. The laughter choked to silence. The pink dress lay crumpled in a drawer, its glitter dulled. A mother's dreams splintered, scattered like ash on a wind that wouldn't stop howling. This is her story, a tale of innocence snatched away, of love betrayed, of a vibrant soul silenced too soon. Jada Moore deserved a lifetime. Instead, she got a headline. July 14th, 2023, 11 p.m. Kimberly's phone buzzes in her cramped Atlanta apartment. She's bone-tired. 12-hour shift, aching feet. The screen says, "Unknown." She answers. A man's voice cuts through. "Ms. Moore, Park Forest Police." Her chest tightens. "There's been an incident at your parents' house." She begs for details. He's cold. "We need you here. Now." The line goes dead. Kimberly grabs her keys, heart hammering. The drive's a blur. 4 hours, no stops. Her mind races. Jada's face flashes. That tiny voice on the phone, fading week by week. Park Forest looms at 3 a.m. Cop cars light up the street. Red and blue bounce off the neat little house. Kimberly stumbles out. An officer stops her. "You can't go in." She screams Jada's name. No answer. Clint's truck sits in the driveway. Lisa's car too, but the windows stay dark. A detective steps up. Grey hair, hard eyes. "Ms. Moore, sit down." She shakes her head. He grabs her arm. "Your parents are gone." Her knees give. Gone? Dead? Missing? He won't say. Then the hammer drops. Jada's not in the house. Kimberly's world tilts. Evidence bags line the porch. A doll's arm sticks out of one. Barbie, Jada's favorite. Kimberly chokes. The detective keeps talking. Neighbors heard yelling. 2 nights ago, then nothing. She stares. 2 nights? She'd called yesterday. Lisa said Jada was fine. Her phone pings. A photo loads. Jada's glittery dress. Torn, stained red. Sent from Lisa's number. Kimberly freezes. The detective snatches it. When did this come? She can't speak. It's time-stamped an hour ago. Lisa's alive, or someone has her phone. Headlights flare down the street. A car peels out. Kimberly bolts after it. The detective yells. She doesn't stop. Jada's out there. The neat house hides something, and someone's running. July 15th. The sun rises over Park Forest. Kimberly's on a plane, her gut screaming, something's wrong. She lands at noon. The street's quiet. Too quiet. She knocks on her parents' door. No answer. She twists the knob. It's unlocked. Inside, the air's thick. Dust floats in dim light. A doll lies on the floor. Jada's doll. Kimberly calls her name. Silence answers. She steps forward. A creak echoes from upstairs. Her breath catches. The kitchen's next. Dishes pile in the sink. A chair's tipped over. Kimberly's eyes lock on a photo. Jada, smiling, pinned to the fridge. The date's scribbled on it. July 12th. 2 days ago. Her hands shake. Upstairs, the hall's dark. Jada's door looms ahead. Kimberly grabs the handle. It's locked. She bangs on it. Jada! Nothing. Then, a faint scratch. From inside. Her heart pounds. She kicks the door. Wood splinters. The room's bare. A mattress. A cracked window. No Jada. But a rope dangles from the closet. Kimberly pulls it. The door swings open. Empty. Except for a note taped to the wall. She's gone. Don't look. Her knees buckle. Downstairs, the phone rings. Kimberly races to it. Picks it up. Breathing on the line. Heavy. Slow. Then a click. She drops the receiver. The back door's open now. Wind pushes it wide. Footprints lead out. Small ones. Jada's size.
Yeah, absolutely horrible indeed, Dawn and Corey. Kimberly Elwood says that she had, her father openly agreed and even offered to look after her 5-year-old daughter while she was out of state looking for stable housing and a new job. She says that there were no warning signs and she'd never known her father to be an abusive man. Today, just a few hours ago, Kimberly's boyfriend and her child's father literally had to carry her out of the medical examiner's office after she identified her own daughter here.
It says happy birthday.
It says happy birthday. So whose birthday was it?
It was mine.
And how old are you now?
5.
Outside, Mrs. Carter watches from her porch. She yells, "Saw a truck peel out last night." Kimberly spins. "Who?" Mrs. Carter shakes her head. "Couldn't see. The trail's fresh, but it's fading fast." July 16th, 3 a.m. Cops swarm the house. Lights flash. Radios crackle. Kimberly sits on the curb, Jada's doll in her hands. Clint and Lisa are gone. The neighbors whisper, "The perfect family's a ghost story now, and Jada's out there, somewhere." July 15th, 2023, 2 a.m. The hospital glows under harsh lights. Kimberly sits, hands locked tight, knuckles white. A doctor steps out. His face says it all. Kimberly's scream cuts the air. Jada's gone, her little girl, lost forever. The clock ticks, truth starts to claw its way out. Morning comes. The autopsy report slams onto the detective's desk. He opens it. His jaw tightens. Bruises mark Jada's body, old ones, fresh ones, a trail of hurt, broken ribs, bleeding inside, a brain injury that took her last breath. This wasn't quick. It was steady, cold. The detective's hands shake. Jada was dead hours before Clint dialed 911. That call, only half the story. Police drag Clint and Lisa in, 2 rooms. Clint's eyes bounce around, sweat drips. The interrogator leans close. The belt. Talk. Clint jerks. Discipline, he says low. She had to learn. The detective hits the table hard. Learn what? To break? Clint turns his head. Next door, Lisa sits still, hands clasped. I didn't know, she breathes, but the fridge calendar shows it clear. Dates scratched in, accidents. Then, punishment. The detective's voice drops low. You wrote it down. Every mark, Lisa's face cracks. Tears fall. At the house, forensics tear through. They find it. A camera tucked in Jada's room. The detective plays the tape. His gut twists. Screams fill the dark. Jada's voice, small, pleading. Clint's shape moving in. This wasn't discipline. It was torment. Months of it. One piece jams the puzzle. The camera's fresh. Set up just weeks back. Why now? Mrs. Carter, the neighbor, steps up. Her voice shakes. A man came late. Not family. She points to her arm. Tattoo, snake around a knife. The detective freezes. He knows that ink. A felon. Out of jail. A man who preys on kids. The story splits apart. Clint and Lisa weren't alone. Someone else watched. And they're still free. July 16th, 2023, 9 a.m. The Cook County morgue hums with cold silence. Jada's small body lies under a stark white sheet. The medical examiner pulls it back. Her face tightens. She grabs her clipboard. This isn't just a tragedy, it's a battlefield. She starts with the bruises. Purple and yellow patches bloom across Jada's arms. Her legs, her back. Some are fresh, raw, angry marks from the last beating. Others are older, faded to a sickly green. 2 months of hurt. The examiner's pen shakes. She counts 32 distinct strikes. Then, the deeper damage. X-rays light up the screen. 3 ribs cracked clean. A lung bruised from the inside. Blood pools where it shouldn't. Around her organs, her brain. The examiner whispers to her assistant. This took time. Days, weeks, Jada's body tells a story of endless pain. The brain injury seals it. A bleed between her skull and brain. Slow, steady. It squeezed the life out of her. She didn't die fast. She faded. Alone, scared, begging for it to stop. The examiner steps back. Her voice cracks. This child fought to live. Police get the report. They storm Clint's cell. 2 months, the detective yells. Clint's eyes dart. She wouldn't listen, he mutters. The detective slams a photo down. Jada's broken body. Clint looks away. Lisa's next. She sits, head down. The detective slides the X-ray across. You saw this. Every day. Lisa's hands twist. I cleaned her up, she says. Kept her quiet. The detective leans in. Quiet for who? Lisa's mouth shuts tight. A tech calls from the house. They found something. Under Jada's mattress, a tiny notebook, her handwriting, shaky. Grandma says don't tell. He'll come back. The detective's blood runs cold. He, the tattooed man. The camera wasn't the only secret. Jada knew something, and it got her killed. July 17th, 2023, 6 a.m. Park Forest buzzes with police. They swarm Clint and Lisa's house. The front door hangs open. A crime scene tech steps out, gloved hands full. He holds a belt. Leather. Worn. stained dark with Jada's blood. The detective takes it. His jaw clenches.
Tonight, a mother's agony. A woman who trusted her young daughter's care to her parents is sharing the gut-wrenching moment she learned her girl was dead, allegedly beaten to death by those grandparents. This is Fox 32 News at 9.
That grieving mother is only telling her story to our Nate Rogers. He's live at the medical examiner's office where one of the most heartbreaking chapters of that story played out. Nate.
Inside, the kitchen tells a story. A calendar hangs on the fridge. Red X's mark dates. June 5th, June 12th, July 1st. Next to each, a word. Accident. Then another. Discipline. The detective rips it down. Pages scatter. This wasn't random. It was a schedule. In the living room, a drawer spills open. Papers tumble out. A notarized letter lands on top. Kimberly's signature. Temporary custody, signed in March. The detective's eyes narrow. Jada was theirs to protect. They chose to destroy her instead. Upstairs, Tex pulls shoes from a closet. One pair, Lisa's, has a dented sole. Jada's DNA crusts the edge. Another bag holds Clint's boots. The lace is frayed. A small handprint presses into the leather. The detective turns away. He can't look. Clint sits in cuffs at the station. His head hangs. The detective slams the belt on the table. Yours? Clint nods. She wouldn't stop, he says. Crying, always crying. The detective's voice cuts sharp. So you beat her silent? Clint's mouth twists. He says nothing. Lisa's turn. She stares at the floor. The detective drops the calendar in front of her. You tracked it. Every hit her fingers twitch. Clint said she needed it, she whispers. Tough love. She looks up. Her eyes are empty. The drive to lock up is quiet. Clint's in the back of a cruiser. He shifts, leans forward. I was a little too rough with my grandbaby, he mutters. The officer's recorder catches it. Clint doesn't know. Those words lock his cage. A tech calls the detective. They found more. In the basement, a locked box. Inside, a phone. It's Clint's. The screen lights up. Messages glow. One name stands out. Snake, the tattooed man. The last text, sent July 13th. She saw me. Fix it. Clint and Lisa are in cuffs, but someone else is out there, and he's not done. July 20th, 2023. 7 p.m. Park Forest streets hum with whispers. Neighbors stand on lawns, eyes fixed on the Elwoods house. Tape still marks the door. No one goes near. The quiet cuts deep. A town that knew every face missed one little girl. Word spreads fast. Jada's story leaks out. Bruises, a belt, a basement phone. People gather at the park. Cars line the block. A crowd forms. Faces pale. Hands clutch candles. The air smells of wax and grief. Kimberly steps forward. Her voice breaks. She was my princess, she sobs, and they took her from me. Tears stream. She holds a photo, Jada in pink, smiling wide. The crowd gasps. A woman nearby drops her candle. It hisses out in the grass. Balloons rise. Pink ones, dozens. They drift up, catching the dusk light. A man prays loud. For Jada, for justice. Voices join him. Strangers link arms. They don't know her, but they feel her loss. The house looms behind them, dark and empty. A neighbor shuffles up. Old Mr. Hayes. He clears his throat. I saw a truck once, he says. Late, black. Someone in a hood. Heads turn. When? A cop asks. June, maybe. Mr. Hayes shrugs. Didn't think much of it. The cop scribbles fast. Candles flicker out one by one. The crowd thins. Kimberly stays. She stares at the house. A shadow moves inside. She blinks. It's gone. Her breath catches. The police rush in. Doors slam. Lights flash. Nothing. Just dust. Strangers became her voice that night. They vowed to remember the girl no one saw. but someone did. And they're still watching. July 22nd, 2023, 9 a.m. The Cook County courtroom doors swing open. Clint Elwood shuffles in, wrists cuffed. Lisa Jones follows. Her eyes stay down. The air buzzes with whispers. Cameras flash. Jada's face, smiling, framed in pink, sits on the prosecutor's table. The judge bangs her gavel. Silence falls hard. The prosecutor stands. Her voice cuts sharp. 2 months, 60 days of torture. Jada Moore never stood a chance. She holds up the belt. The crowd gasps. Clint's face stays blank. Lisa flinches. Bond hearing starts. The prosecutor lists the charges. First-degree murder. Aggravated battery. Evidence piles up. Bruises, the calendar, Jada's notebook. The judge's eyes narrow. Bond denied, she snaps. Clint's shoulders sag. Lisa grips the table. The prosecutor keeps going. She pulls a file. Yellowed. Old. Clint Elwoods, she says. Convicted in 2005. Robbery, carjacking, 5 years served. The room stirs. Kimberly sits in the back. Her hands shake. She trusted a man with a past. The detective leans to a lawyer. Checked his record, he whispers. Parole ended early. Good behavior. The lawyer's face twists. Good behavior? Clint's eyes flick up. He heard. His lips curl, just a flicker. A clerk rushes in, slips the prosecutor a note. She reads it. Her eyes widen. Your Honor, she says, new evidence. The judge leans forward. The prosecutor holds up a photo, a grainy still from a gas station camera. July 13th, Clint's truck. A man steps out, snake tattoo on his arm. The judge calls a recess. Clint and Lisa are led out. Kimberly stands. Her voice cracks. Who is he? The prosecutor turns. We don't know. The courtroom doors close.
The anger that he showed towards my daughter, I've never seen from him. I would have never sent her there. My baby's face was disfigured.
But here's what matters most. From infancy...
Where's your eyes?
...to twirling, young Jada leaves behind a world of great memories.
I loved to dress her up when she was a baby. She was a princess. She was very sweet, always smiling, even in the midst of everything that she endured.
A violent past slipped through the cracks. A child paid the price. And now, a new face, still out there. July 25th, 2023, Park Forest wakes to a grey dawn. The Elwoods house sits empty, windows boarded, a ghost in the neighborhood. Jada's death lingers like a shadow. Kimberly stands outside, her hands stuffed in her pockets. She stares at the door. Tears fall slow. The town feels heavier now. Jada Moore's story shocks the nation. A reporter shares grim statistics. Thousands of children harmed, hundreds lost to family violence. A screen flashes. 1 in 7 kids face abuse. 1,800 don't survive. An advocate speaks, voice heavy with sorrow. We miss the signs. Every time. She clutches a photo. Another child gone too soon. A shelter opens. Volunteers hand out flyers. Hotlines, warning signs. A man clutches a pamphlet. My niece, he murmurs. Almost lost her. Nearby, a wall of faces. Kids saved, kids lost. Jada's photo joins them. Pink dress bright against the somber frame. Kimberly, Jada's mother, refuses to let her daughter's story fade. She visits schools, churches, rallies. Jada loved to dance, she says. She deserved a stage, not a grave. A woman hands her a rose. For Jada. Kimberly nods. She's not done. On July 30th, hundreds march through Park Forest. Justice for Jada. Stop the silence. A child holds a candle, too young to understand. Kimberly grips the microphone. My girl is gone, but yours don't have to be. The crowd roars. Donations pour in. A fund grows. Awareness. Change. At the station, a detective digs deeper. Clint's file holds a buried note. 1998. Suspect linked to missing girl case. A name emerges. Danny Snake Carter. Released 2022. A gas station clerk recalls a tense exchange. Saw Snake with Clint. June. Late. He left with a bag. The detective's pulse races. A weapon? A secret? Kimberly storms the station. Who's Snake? The detective hesitates. A shadow tied to Clint. She clenches her fists. She wants answers. The detective promises to find them. August 1st, 2023. Kimberly stands at Jada's grave. The Georgia sun beating down. Pink flowers rest on a white casket. Too small, too wrong. She grips a photo, Jada laughing, glitter on her cheeks. She loved pink. She loved life. A woman hands her a candle. For her light. Candles multiply, flames flickering in the fading dusk. For Jada. For justice. The prayer rises, a chorus against silence. Kimberly kneels. I'll fight for you, she whispers. She stands. Share her story. Don't let her fade. She holds up a card. Tip line 555-0200. If you know something, call. A man in the back shifts. A snake tattoo glistens under the streetlight. He turns fast, slips into the crowd. A woman notices. Her hand grabs her phone. She dials. The line rings. The crowd scatters. Pink petals drift to the ground. Kimberly stays, tears in her eyes. A breeze lifts Jada's photo. It lands near a tree. A child picks it up. Pretty girl. Kimberly smiles through tears. Jada Moore, gone too soon, but never forgotten.